nope, we don't want to deal with Malene today. Gonna pick up the Kestrel first with Celeste off the board. Kestrel definitely one of those heroes, if she goes the Crystal Power route, can have a lot of range to be able to poke away from this backline. Very strong at these early stages of the game. With so many of these changes in Update 3.2, really suit her very well.
And this Crystal Kestrel is something that we're actually going to be talking about a little bit later on today. It's going to be a little bit of a theme because we've been seeing a lot of her here in North America. Tilt Rehab, they're going to go ahead and get themselves the Lyra and the Tony. Typically, when we've seen these two paired together, it's been the Captain Lyra with Tony being the weapon power carry.
Absolutely. I definitely expect to see that here again today. Tilt Rehab, though, does like to go things a little bit off meta, mix them up, try some of these different strategies. I don't know if Tilt Rehab was necessary, I don't know if Tilt Rehab was necessarily expecting that, so a little bit of a shakeup for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And going for the Idris to pair with the Kestrel, again, flexibility is the key for these drafts. Is you can go Crystal Kestrel, you can go Weapon, you can do the same with the Idris. We've seen a lot of Crystal Kestrels, we've seen a lot of Crystal Idris, so either one of those going away from that would be a break from the norm. We also see Kroll getting banned in the second rotation, whereas over in Europe, we've gotten accustomed to see that as the first ban in most games.
Yeah, Kroll definitely being a huge priority in the European meta. Definitely no surprises there. Tilt Rehab, though, wanting to make sure that they take more ranged off the table. Tribe, the triple utility heroes coming out of that. I actually think that Tribe suits Tribe very well with Gabe Visible being so proficient on these captain-style heroes. Same thing with Max Green up in the top lane. Those are heroes that he knows inside and out and suits Tribe's playstyle very well.
So they round this composition out with, what, Adagio Arden at this point?
Yeah,
go for
basically.
the five captain of heroes to round things out. But I would expect them to have some sort of hyper carry in this. Oftentimes when you go for these multiple support utility type heroes, it's because you're building a protect the carry composition. So Tilt Rehab, they should actually know this. They should be able to identify that that's what they're going for and try and build a composition that is based around getting past that front line and taking out that priority target before all of that defense can come through. They're going to grab the Arden away, make sure that, just in case they wanted that full-on support team, that it will not be available.
Yeah, the Arden, great pickup for the side of Tilt Rehab. Definitely going to be able to protect those carries, whether it's a Gray going in with her A, the Tony going in with his punch. That's going to definitely help keep his carries very safe. Scarf being picked up by Tribe does synergize very well with the Lyra. And whenever Tilt does decide to try and engage, there is so much protection now for that Scarf that he is going to be able to sustain very long through these team fights.
The Scarf is also the hyper carry in this protect the carry composition, so we'll see what they decide to round things out with. They're not going to be able to grab themselves a Gwen if that's what they were thinking. I don't necessarily think that's where they would have gone if they had the option, although Dienzio has been playing the Gwen and has been phenomenal with it. It's still a situation where I feel like they're just going for full-on hyper carry, protecting Scarf composition. So we'll have to wait and see what they decide to round up the composition with. Tilt Rehab, though, they got to figure out where they want to go with their final pick. They don't have really a bruiser with the exception of Arden, so maybe they go for something like the Rona, who's still available.
I'd really like to see for them go for something that's a little more aggressive here in the early game. I don't know that Tribe necessarily has the strongest early games. I think that Scarf is one of the weakest carries in Mage for the mid lane. Glaive is great for that. If Tribe gets caught out of position, Glaive can be very punishing.
Yeah, and absolutely. One of those heroes, again, that can get past that front line, can dive deep onto the hero, knock Scarf out of position, and allow the rest of the team to take advantage of their massive damage potential. So Tribe gonna have to figure out where they want to do. Again, I'm expecting something else defensive. Adagio is definitely someone that can help keep a hero alive while still improving the damage of the rest of the team. So 4 effectively, potential captain heroes on the side of Tribe. Now it's up to Tilt Rehab to try and figure out who's going to be playing what.
They need to make sure that they are on point with their execution here in the early game. I actually think Tilt Rehab has the better composition in the early game. Even though Tribe has a lot of sustain, the damage just isn't there. With the Kestrel on Tilt Rehab, if she is able to put out really good, effective AoE crystal damage from the backline, that can really be punishing of Tribe.
Yeah, Tilt Rehab, they're going to have to focus on getting onto the carries. One of the key factors in getting onto the carries is going to be my player to watch, and that is Ali Peterson, the captain of Tilt Rehab. His positioning and decision making in the games that Tilt Rehab has looked strong has definitely made him a baller shot caller as he's looking to make various plays. You know, being the one that initiates these team fights for Tilt Rehab, oftentimes the difference between them winning or losing a fight has just been, you know, if the rest of the team follows up. We saw in that previous one, there was an instance where he went in, rest of the team didn't follow. But here you're going to see this decision being made. They had one member isolated, immediate Lyra portals over onto that Skye. They eliminated Skye right off the bat. That was against TSM. It was a great play by Ali Peterson, great heads-up call that the team followed up on. That's going to be key.
Perhaps even better at shot calling and definitely a very versatile player. Gabe Vizel has been putting in a massive amount of work for the amount of Tribe. Prior to the preseason starting, he said he was going to be playing in that top lane. That is no longer the case. He has switched roles with Max Green. Max Green now pretty consistently playing in that top lane, but that is Gabe just showing his versatility. Max Green as well, but when he is on his game in this captain role, he is putting in a ton of work for the side of Tribe and has looked really good after making that swap.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tilt Rehab definitely will have their hands full if they want to try and get themselves a victory. But we'll be finding out if they will be able to be successful as we head on to Sovereign's Rise for our first game in North America.
Well, thank you very much, Tasty Bacon and FlashX, breaking it down for us, guys. We've got Tilt Rehab up against Tribe here. I'm Denominate, joined by Humanist. How you feeling, bud?
I'm feeling pretty fantastic there. As we get into this game, obviously we've got Tilt Rehab on the board versus Tribe. Tribe looking like one of the strongest teams here in the VPL, and I think this is going to be another game to show them doing so. They have a very strong composition put together. Gabe Bizzle's going to be on the Adagio and Joseph on the Tony, which we typically see the Captain Tony come out of Tribe. We see some early minion candy here in the mid lane, and that's going to help Tribe make a good rotation over to this Crystal Treant.
Yeah, nice little rotation over. Use of a couple changes here in this update, right? Minion Candies is getting a little bit buffed. Also, Weapon Tony maybe a little bit more impactful, and maybe that's why they're going for that pick.
Yeah, they definitely may be going for that pick. It does look like he's starting with the Stormguard for some jungle clear. Obviously, I love Joseph the jungler for Tribe. May help out, may even go into some cooldown, just looking for the stun spam and possibly to have that ultimate up a little bit more frequently. So we'll have to see which build path he does go out. Meanwhile,
Maokai getting torn up there. Healing Flask at the last second. But that's the power of the Scarf. You know, just one Spitfire, just keep the attacks on it, and if you're in range to get hit, that's going to light you up.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And speaking of Scarf, we have the changes to his ultimate and to his goop. The goop now a little bit more burst damage on the ignite and a little bit less damage over time. Maokai on this glaive has gone with the Stormguard first as well, so no healing coming out of these lane minion kills from him.
That's going to be a little bit of a bummer here early on, but it's a quiet early game. When will we expect to see some aggression here? I know things have gotten shaken up. We've seen different rotations across the map, but this kind of, it feels just farmy.
Well, Joseph will be looking to make some pretty aggressive early ganks. Even without weapon power, Tony does quite a massive amount of damage with his Jawbreaker, and then you tack that heavy stun onto the end of it, and it can really set up some really good ganks. Old School is playing in the mid lane here with the Lyra. Not the fastest clear, but has a lot of sustain and can really help the jungler in getting in those final hits. You know, that speed boost from popping that Imperial Sigil can help get them into place to make the kills.
I think Lyra carry is like one of the more interesting carries in the game. Definitely not something that everybody can make effective. But I don't know, like, how would you just... Ooh, that's going to be the first kill down in bottom. A nice first blood going to Tilt Rehab. I actually had just switched the camera down there, and he took all of that damage in a huge burst.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and you're right. The carry Lyra can be difficult to play. Specifically, when she first came out, she was very lane heavy. Due to that, you know, to fulfill her role of being more of a support, her armor and shield was nerfed quite a bit. So Old School, while he can dish out a lot of damage, he also will take a lot in return from the side of Tilt Rehab.
I think that, you know, for me, I'm looking at this, and you're seeing the Lyra and the Scarf. That's two carries that are some of the most vulnerable in the game.
Yeah, they definitely can be, and the key target we're going to be looking out for is Sino here on this Kestrel. Those Glimmer shots will rip apart Scarf or Lyra if they get a little bit too nosy and get too much in that front line.
Don't get too nosy. Pinocchio, Max Green in a 1v3, trying to defend down here, but Tilt Rehab kind of stacking up a little bit of damage down to the spot T1 turret. Looks like it's going to be okay. Gabe Vizzle thinking about making the rotation down, but has Tilt Rehab dispersed. Gabe makes that soft rotate right back into mid.
Yeah, absolutely. And one benefit that Tilt Rehab is going to have here is most of their carry damage is ranged. Glaive and Arden are going to be the two front line. They have a high health pool, and they have a lot of ability to soak up some of the damage that comes out of that Scarf. Meanwhile, Sino, Archaic, and Esme, they'll be able to stand back a little bit. The Idris and the Vox will be able to build up their stacks a little bit should Idris go down the Dragon's Eye route. But Vox, definitely that breaking point in the later stages of the game. He can really start to take over a fight by himself as long as his team is creating him a big enough distraction.
It definitely can. I think, yeah, it's going to come down to what can Tony do to kind of disrupt that Vox as he starts to get rolling. Max Green will actually be a pretty easy to target. That's one of my favorite as a weapon Vox to just stack up on. Gabe Vizzle taking a lot of damage. He'll pop the flask, get under the turret. Max Green low as well. Tribe kind of on the back foot here.
Yeah, they definitely are a little bit. I do think Tilt Rehab has a little bit of an early advantage with Archaic having the crystal power to get his heroic perk online. He will have a distinct range advantage over the Grace, and Grace doesn't really have a lot of ways to escape. So that's going to be a bottom turret now going over to Tilt Rehab, taking down that objective in just 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, good chance that the top's going to go down as well. In fact, Joseph, he's locked onto Maokai. Maokai, you're in a bada place here. Bada boom on in, just a gap closer. Joseph will go ahead and punch him in the face there, get that kill. Now it's got Tribe on the board, and they should be taking this turret rather quickly.
Yeah, they definitely should. Scarf here, definitely one of the best heroes for taking objectives. I love Joseph with that Storm Crown finish as well. They're going to trade that turret out 1-for-1, top for bottom. And now it does look like we might have potential contests here down in the bot. Max Green getting ready for this Treant to pop.
Max hanging out. I mean, he's trying to get some vision down. It's cleared out. Tilt Rehab have actually very clean movements here. Little Vanguard slingshot Sino right into position. It's 4 from Tribe, kind of collapse right into the middle here. I guess Ghostwing spawning kind of a signal for Tribe that they're going to go ahead and clump up a bit.
Yeah, we see vision from Tilt Rehab down on both the Crystal Treant of Tribe as well as on that Ghostwing, and it's
big
such
fight
a key
here.
vision
Dragon Express
spot.
going to come out. Zio from range, but he's just going to go ahead and burn the grass down. Zio, maybe not what he was looking for. They look to go ahead and retreat here, getting into a better position. Gabe doing his best to heal up his team. That was kind of a sloppy little skirmish there, and surprising that nobody went down. Just kind of a bold fight over that Crystal Treant. Now it's going to be a little bit more action continuing as Tilt Rehab just pound down on this T1 mid turret. They'll take it down for their trouble. And Zio just rotating out as he's like, team, dude, I can't stall out. I got to keep farming.
Yeah, and that puts Tilt Rehab up 1 objective. They've started up the Ghostwing, and I think one of the key players to watch for this game is going to be D'Enzio on the Scarf. Historically, Scarf has been one of his best heroes and has kept him at the top when he needed it, even when that pick was off meta. Now, Scarf with some changes, he's a little bit more of a threat in team fights, so I'm excited to see what he can do with that. He's just got to be cautious. Archaic has gone with that Dragon's Eye, so over the course of the battle, Esme is going to start to deal out more and more damage with basic attacks and those chakrams.
Esme putting a little damage down, but only has the poison shiv, not quite the breaking point. When we see the breaking point come out on the Vox, that's going to be the go signal for him. If he's able to get a couple of attacks down, build up some breaking point stacks before he takes any damage, it's almost always a great fight for the Vox. Archaic and Ali Peterson walking into that brush, but there is vision down from Tribe. In fact, it's going to be the very aggressive port forward. A little bit of damage coming out. They're able to find the stun onto Max. Another Dragon's Breath comes out. He drops the gauntlet, but is it enough to save his Vox? No, the Idris able to squeeze out the back here. Tribe not wanting to funnel into that choke point, respecting the active camo coming out here. Very patient call for them to kind of regroup back up, buy a couple items, and then get back into a better position here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I want to take note at Sino having gone with the Dragon, or the Spellfire first. Looking over at the side of Tribe, they have 3 healers on their team. Gabe Vizzle on the Adagio is going to provide a lot of team healing. Old School can provide a little bit going the Crystal route. It's not going to be quite what a Captain can do. And Max Green on the Grace, that is a lot of healing potential coming out of these members. So I'd actually like to see Archaic probably pick up a Spellfire later on in the game, just to help kind of cut down on what Tribe can do to maintain themselves.
Double the Spellfire, double the fun?
Yeah, we'll have the Poison Shift coming out of Esme too, which is really key here for the Lyra early game. But Max Green's coming over to this turret.
Max, go ahead and jump on in. Esme looking to avoid some damage, but Zio's made the rotation as well. A Holy Nova, but the Vanguard, the Flask will allow him to go ahead and reposition. Gabe Vizzle, he's got the Verse coming on through, but it's not going to connect with a stun. Until Rehab taking a lot, absorbing more damage than I thought was capable. Now, the Enzio, another Dragon's Breath coming on through. It almost feels like Zio's just kind of like experimenting with these Dragon's Breath now. That's going to be the kill from School onto the Fox. It looks like they should be able to get 2 more. So they're going to lose the Arden and Idris as well. Tribe taking a lot of damage, but spreading it out on all members. Nobody going down. Really clean plays there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of this early game, it did look like the side of Tilt Rehab had the lead. After that fight and this Ghost Wing getting captured up by Tribe, that can change very quickly. Maokai is trying to push this turret.
Dude, Maokai is pushing the turret, Noms. Give him credit. Look at that. Look at that. He's destroying that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What was really cool kind of synergy I saw in that last fight with Tribe is the Bada Boom came out of I Love Joseph, and it looked like it was possibly helping, I believe, Esme escape from that fight, but it was right over into the hands of Old School. One shot, one kill is going to come through and just tickle Gabe Viz a little bit.
The tickle monster on the rise, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Adagio here on the captain position. He is going to be quite tanky. We see he's already invested in quite a bit of health, going for that Crucible for his second item. There it is right there.
Up in top. Oh, it's going to be okay.
Okay, pretty low on health here. He doesn't have a lot of damage for Glaive. You know, typically Glaive has a pretty sustainable amount of damage, as well as being able to tank quite a bit himself, but
another just immediate Dragon's Breath coming on through. Maokai taken down. Zio's going to take a lot of damage. In fact, he drops incredibly low. But they'll take the turret. They'll be able to get back here as Tilt Rehab trying to shove down mid. In fact, that's going to be taken down to at least 50% before Tribe are able to respond to this. Looks like Joseph and Gabe Vizzle stay in top lane, but the fight will continue into mid. The port forward, School trying to get the damage down. In fact, he is going to be able to take down Sino there. Now looking potentially for Archaic. They don't really have great chase. They have some movement speed enhancing abilities, a little bit of gap close, but not a whole lot of lockdown.
No, not at all. And looking over at the builds, Old School has gone Shatterglass first. A lot of burst damage coming out of the Imperial Sigil. There is no alternating current yet, though. He's gone with the Spellfire. And if you think about Lyra's kit, the Imperial Sigil and the Bright Bulwark, both AoE abilities that deal crystal damage, he can spread team-wide
another
Mortal Wound
Dragon's Breath. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Just, I think Tribe have quite an advantage here in their comp moving into the late game. Obviously, we have no Celeste on the board, so D'Enzio is going to be kind of that hyper carry mage. Old School's picked up quite a few kills himself with that Imperial Sigil. It's a lot of burst damage with the Shatterglass, and then adds a little bit of damage over time with that Spellfire as well. And then we talked about the Mortal Wound, so interesting build out of Old School, not going for the typical alternating current Lyra that we normally see.
I just think it's really interesting what Zio's got going on here, man. Like, let's talk about this a little bit. Like, almost every fight, and this was a change. Like, the Dragon's Breath got buffed up a little bit. Ignite damage got, initial Ignite got buffed, but then the damage over time, I think it got nerfed just a little bit. But he's been throwing Dragon's Breath almost every fight, the beginning of the fight, and it's been working incredibly well.
Yeah, it's a lot of base damage increase, but we got a fight breaking out here.
Got another fight breaking out now. The Gauntlet zoning one way first, zoning out the backside. Tribe, a lot of AoE damage coming on out. Max Jumpson stunned up, taking a lot of damage, but the damage is piling up much harder on the side of Tilt Rehab as they retreat back, trying to get under the safety of the turret. One shot will come out the other way, connecting on to Joseph. Joseph really not too worried about that. Pretty tanky still at this point. So 2 from Tilt Rehab going down. Tribe not going to lose anybody once again, dropping low, but they're doing just fine, and they'll move over for another Ghost Swing.
Yeah, they're looking for that objective, and they should be able to get it. Meanwhile, that top turret is getting pushed pretty heavily by minions. It's obviously not going to fall now, but we do have the captain minion up there, and that damage will add up. Ghost Wing going over to Tribe, so they maintain the dragon objective control here, and will have the chance now to use that 25% damage buff they've just picked up to rotate around and pick up other objectives as they need. Now we are 12, 13, 14 minutes in, and Black Claw is on the map again, spawning now at 12 minutes instead of 15, and Tribe, they're going to go ahead and take that one and maybe look for one solid push to win this game with the Ghost Wing buff and Black Claw.
Yeah, just one good fight coming out here. Could go the other way. Now, once again, Dragon's Breath starts this off, slowing opponents down, boosting his team right into the fight here. Tilt Rehab, you're going to have to put something amazing together. Max Green drops low, but he's got the self-defined intervention. Maokai trying to stand his ground, but getting melted down. Ali Peterson, a tanky Arden, but not tanky enough for his team to be the front line. I guess he actually, another self-Vanguard, will stay alive here. Zeal going down for Tribe is going to slow down what they can accomplish here, and that's almost the pinnacle just of what they're trying to achieve in this fight. Tilt Rehab actually taking a pretty important kill.
Yeah, they did. It was a trade by Esme on the back line, and they were able to pick that one up. Again, as you mentioned, Scarf, would have been able to rip these turrets and armories apart with the boosted damage, but since they were able to get that kill, Tilt Rehab should survive to pick another fight. They will lose out on that central turret, but their armory stands strong, so they won't have those buff minions that they have to worry about constantly. So that's a little bit of a saving grace for them here. I like what Tribe have done, though. They've really gone with a protect the carry kind of comp. Typically, when we see the Tony, he goes down the weapon power route and really tries to abuse that early game, but falls off in the later stages. Instead, Joseph has gone with the Storm Crown Shiver Steel build and just a lot of tankiness, just looking to protect his backline mages in Old School and Dienzio. So losing out on either one of them does lose out on a lot of what Tribe's potential is.
All right, well, we'll see if Tilt Rehab look to continue fighting in the same way they have been. Maokai, a lot of cooldown, a lot of pick potential. If they can find a key target, take them down, regroup, get back into it, they have potential to potentially win a fight. What do you think, Noms? That's English right there.
They definitely still can win a fight. They're not horribly behind. The gold discrepancy right now is only about 2,500 gold, so not major. The problem is that it's constantly Sino and Archaic getting forced out of the fight early on. Max Green, he's a little bit extended from the team right now. That would have been a good time for the side of Tilt Rehab if they recognized that to get a pick, but I think there was a little bit of fear that the rest of the team may have been behind him, as they don't have a ton of vision. They have one in here in the bush by the river on their side. But for the most part, Tribe has really controlled the vision game, and that's given them a lot of freedom in where they can roam on the map.
Look at the timing is really sweet. Like, literally, they drop the scout cam as Ghostwing flies down onto the rise here. Now, they're going to go ahead and look to zone Tilt Rehab back. Tilt Rehab taking a lot of damage. They haven't applied any damage themselves, so if they get into this fight, it feels like it would be really bad for them. And these choke points are so good for Dienzio, so good for pretty much the entire team, really, because they funnel into that. You're taking AoE damage. You're able to get locked down. Joseph on the backside. He can control up. He's going to grab Ali, pull him in a little bit here, but that's not the target they're looking for. Be silenced up as the gauntlet comes down. Tilt Rehab looking to fight inside the gauntlet here. Vox getting some breaking point stacks. Esme on the backside trying to take down, but Joseph's not the target that he wants to go for. They've lost their glaive. They've lost their Arden. Looks like it's going to be Vox going down next. Tribe, will they lose anybody in this fight? This is just an absolute stomp of a fight for Tribe once again. They won't lose anybody. Look at them juggle that damage there.
Yeah, and that Imperial Sigil coming out of Old School, sniping out the last hit onto Sino there, is going to result in 4 kills going over to the side of Tribe, and they are now just pushing into this armory. They have a little bit of time. Maokai is down for 5 seconds, but again, not a ton of damage on that glaive, so they don't have a huge threat. They're sticking around, going to try to pick up another armory, and because of that double captain minion wave, they can go ahead and safely back out, knowing they have that secured, and Tribe have now taken a massive advantage in positioning here. Now the top wave and the middle wave for those lanes, those minions are buffed for Tribe. That is something that Tilt Rehab must now always be concerned with, because if they stay out of their base too long, those minions are going to continuously push into the Vein Crystal.
maybe if a fight breaks out here, we'll go ahead and get off of this. But let's see. I want to just maybe you could talk about if we do want to engage the overall net worth. Really not too far apart, but we're seeing like 15-2. We're seeing the base torn apart here. Like, what is that? What's going on here with that?
Well, the side of Tilt Rehab, they've had really good rotations and have been sharing their ambient gold effectively, and that's really kept them in the gold game. However, Tribe, they've had better positioning in the fights, and I think their composition is just a little bit better. Obviously, we had some nerfs onto the Idris and the Kestrel in this patch, so that is something to be concerned about as well.
A lot of concerns, and I'm concerned for Tilt Rehab that this game is going to be over rather quickly here, as Ghostwing captured up one more time for Tribe, and with that, Zio and School making the quick rotate right up into the Black Claw pit, and this should be another take for them, barring a I mean, Tilt Rehab have to steal this or just have a miracle fight, right?
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be that way. Maokai, he's going into an aftershock, it looks like, but we've got this fight breaking out.
Target. School stunned up, but he's able to arcane passage out. Now he fights from range. Zio right forward with the Dragon's Breath. The Verse Judgment will come out. Huge stun to control Tilt Rehab as Tribe begin to pick them apart. Esme staying alive, getting some good breaking point stacks built up here, but he just can't collapse onto a target. They just can't finish anybody. They can't finish a target.
Now, and they have minions pushed in onto the Vein Crystal, starting to chip away at that now, and another wave is incoming. Here comes the teleport boots from Max Green.
Max Green. Let's see. Let's just see how this plays out here. A little arcane passage. What? I'm over here. What? I'm over here. What? There goes your Vein Crystal. GG. Tribe able to take down Tilt Rehab, and it felt more like Tilt School to me.
Yeah, it definitely did. Great purchase from the side of Tribe. Everybody picking up their teleport boots there at the end. Noticing they had that double wave, that double minion wave on the Vein Crystal, and they were able to teleport in and get that victory while 3 members of Rehab were in the grave.
3 members in the grave, indeed. I was super impressed how Tribe accomplished a lot of stuff. For me, the most impressive thing was how they're able to juggle all that damage. Maybe our analysts can break that down for us a little bit, but we'll go ahead and throw it back over to the desk.
Thank you very